Hi, thanks for joining me for this week's quick business tip. Today we're going to talk about networking, but not in the sense that most of us look at it. What I want to talk about today is really thinking about networking from a transactional action into a time where you are really trying to build genuine relationships and to serve others, whether or not you see a sale coming along the way. I think that this is one of the things that gets overlooked pretty often. A lot of my clients have been coming to me lately because they understand the power behind a personal brand. They understand that in order to really have success on LinkedIn, they need to be spending time there and engaging with people that they're connected with. And then they come to me and they're kind of freaking out and they don't know how to go about building these relationships. And I'm always a little bit confused because the people that are coming to me and asking these questions are so good at talking to people. They're so passionate about what they do. But at some point, they have this like mental block in their head that I don't know if it's having a conversation over DM or if it's because they first met this person on LinkedIn and they're still conversing with this person on LinkedIn, that it just doesn't really register with them that all they're doing is having a simple conversation. And so a lot of people, when they feel like they are networking, whether it's a chamber event, networking on LinkedIn, spending time in DMs on Instagram, they turn it more into okay, so I'm asking this person a series of questions to figure out whether or not they have a problem that I can solve, and then I'm going to offer them my services. And in in my opinion, this is not what networking was ever intended to be. I think networking is so much more powerful when you don't look at it from a transactional or a sales perspective, but you really look at it as serving your community, engaging with people, and just having interesting conversations. And so we don't want networking to be a complete time suck and something that doesn't eventually turn into sales. But I think that when you go into networking with sales being your only goal that you have in mind, you kind of come off weird and icky and used car sales like, and maybe with a little bit of commission breath. And so while it is very important to identify what type of networking platforms or networking events your target market is spending time at, and also spending time at those networking events or on those networking platforms, um, when you go there with the goal to make a sale instead of meet interesting people, um, serve them well, and build relationships, that's when I think the ick kind of comes in. So, kind of skimmed over a pretty important part, but you do want to be cognizant of where your target audience is hanging out. And I'm smiling because it seems like every episode that I've recorded lately, I have talked about your target audience, but it's just so important to know who you want to spend your time and money trying to attract into your business, and then learning as much as you possibly can about them. And you don't want to like try to get your target market to come join you on LinkedIn or join you on Instagram, what you want to do is you want to spend time where your target audience is already spending their time. So if your audience is on Instagram, then go build your platform there. If your audience is spending time on LinkedIn, then spend most of your time building content on LinkedIn, engaging in the community on LinkedIn, and really serving that audience. The same is true for in-person networking. If your target audience is not already spending time at chamber events, then the chamber might not be where you're wanting to really invest a lot of your time and money. Um, there is a new local community, it's both virtual and local. It's called The Advance, and we just launched our Indianapolis chapter in September. And it's a community of business leaders. So we're talking about people that are running businesses $500,000 or more. And these are not the sales teams and the assistants and people that typically go to chamber events or BNI events. These are, C-suite, the owners, the presidents, and that's where I am choosing to invest my time with face-to-face networking. Another thing that you need to do really well is to craft your elevator pitch. Now, an elevator pitch is not where you are telling someone enough about your business that they're going to want to purchase from you. Something about the word pitch, I think people just assume is is something that is going to result in a sale. I like to look at the elevator pitch as something that makes someone want to ask more. Tell me more about that. So if you're a realtor and someone asks you what you do, this is typically when you pull out your elevator pitch. And your response is, I'm a realtor. I don't need any more information. You and about 50 other people in this room are realtors right now. Um, But if someone were to say to me, "Oh, I'm really passionate about helping first-time home buyers find a home that will work for them for the next 5 years so that they can invest in whatever is coming for them for the 5 years after that." That feels heartfelt, that feels connected, that makes me feel like I still get what you do. You're a realtor and you really like working with first-time home buyers, but the way that that elevator pitch gets presented is like, "Oh, that's fascinating. Like, tell me more about that. I want to continue having this conversation with you." And so that is where having a really well-crafted elevator pitch that speaks to your target market is so important because this person that's telling me this doesn't know if I have a home, if I am a first-time home buyer, but if I know someone who's thinking about buying their first home, and is maybe worried about it being a big investment and not knowing if this is the right thing for them and planning for 10, 15 years down the road and how does this fit into the plan, like this is the person that I'm going to tell them that they need to talk to, right? So even if I'm not their target audience, it's been made abundantly clear to me who this person's target audience is. I was having a conversation with someone in the DMs on a social platform, and they asked me about my business. So I gave them one of my versions of my elevator pitch, which again was not intended to sell, but just to give them information in an interesting way so that we could continue the conversation. Now, as with even an in-person conversation, I was like, what about you? Tell me about your business as soon as I, answered his question. And his response was so incredibly vague that I didn't get any additional information out of it. It was like, I help businesses grow. I don't that I mean that could mean anything. That he could be helping them with HR, he could be um, kind of a fractional CFO, he could be in marketing, he could be a fractional sales team leader type. I mean, literally anything. And what type of businesses? Are they service-based businesses? Are they blue collar businesses? Do they sell like low end widgets? Are you working with, I mean, like, what? It was so vague that it was just not even useful at all. So once you've found the platform or the in-person event that is going to work for you and your target audience, you've created this elevator pitch that gets people to want to continue having a conversation with you. The next step in this new version of networking is to start following up with the people that you've been talking to. So this can be in text messages, DMs, emails, just depending on how you sort of started that relationship. I always like to stay in the same form of communication that the prospective client has started with me until it feels like we're ready to either take it to an in-person conversation, or if they have asked to text because it's easier for them that way, or to talk on WhatsApp, or whatever the situation is. But I always let the prospective client sort of choose the avenue until we kind of get to that place where it's like, hey, we've been talking a lot. How about we meet up for a cup of coffee? Hey, we've really had some great conversations. What about moving this to a Zoom call? And a lot of people are sort of uncomfortable with this more long-term nurturing type conversations. It's like they forget how they talk to people in real life, or they forget how they talk to their friends. And so one way that makes it really easy to continue to nurture these relationships is to just keep providing value without expecting anything in return. So you can sort of like fill this person up with books that they might find, book recommendations that they might find interesting. If you have a YouTube video that you've put out that might be helpful, if you hear about a webinar or a workshop that's available, you can always kind of make those suggestions. But in addition to that, just asking them what's going on with them. How are things in their business? Like really checking up on them, not in a how are things going? Do you have any problems that I can solve for you kind of way, but in more of a I genuinely care. I want to know. I want to celebrate the wins with you type of fashion. This really leads to a lot of reciprocity in your relationship bank. And that will oftentimes either lead to business directly from them, or it keeps you top of mind so that when they come across someone who does have a problem that they think you can solve, they will give you referrals. So let's do a super quick review. Don't think about networking as a way to generate a sale more or less immediately. Really shift from that transactional type of networking into something where you're really diving into some deeper, genuine relationships with people that will eventually lead to sales or referrals. Make sure that you identify the networking events or platforms that your target audience is already spending their time in. Create an elevator pitch that makes people want to continue a conversation with you. Follow up with all of your new connections through genuine, nurturing relationships by providing value without expecting anything in return and truly caring in the most authentic fashion about what is going on in their life and celebrating their wins. If you do these very simple things, I think you will look at networking as a completely different animal. Until next week, I'm Jennifer with Limitless Impact Agency.